This is an excerpt from my upcoming 4-hour-long tutorial, which is almost done. It is so close. Here's a piece of it. Chapter 15, The Past. This is about my schooling and jobs and so on throughout the years. As a kid, I was always very interested in television and cartoons and movies and computer games. Me and my older brother would always play computer games together, and we also drew comics together, which eventually started finding their way onto the internet as we created bobcomics.com, which is still up today. You can go there and see all the comics we published to the internet, and also the animations that I made using Macromedia Flash 5. Newgrounds.com was a really big deal, so I would submit my animations there and get critique, and I was very active in the Flash forums. Eventually, my animations got good enough that I applied to an arts magnet school called Denver School of the Arts, and I got in to the Video Cinema Arts department. I had only done animation up until this point and never touched a camera nor an editing program, and I actually didn't learn much about video editing at that school, but it was definitely a great experience to be surrounded by a lot of other creative people who understood this stuff. I won a lot of awards for my animations. Looking back on them, they're really not that great, but for a high schooler, they were pretty good. Before I graduated from Denver School of the Arts, I got a $25,000 scholarship offer from the Art Institute of Colorado. However, it was a 4-year program that would have cost $100,000 in tuition, unless I'm remembering this wrong. And the scholarship they were offering could not be put all on the first year, or I would have gone. The Art Institute didn't seem like a particularly good value for my money, so I turned down that scholarship. I also took a look at a couple of different 2D animation schools and courses and so on. I had a lot of them sending me stuff in the mail, so I checked that out. And I don't know, I have so much respect for animators, and it's such a wonderful medium and something that I want to be a part of. But it really seems like you're just a cog in a large machine. And I just kind of got the impression that I would be disposable. And besides, my drawing skills were never really that good, so I probably would have become a 3D animator, if anything. So after bouncing around directionless for a few years, I eventually ended up in Vancouver, BC, because I have family out here. I had no better plan, so I decided that I wanted to go to BCIT for either programming or television broadcast. And I chose the latter because I already had quite a bit of experience with television stuff. So long story short, I did that for 2 years. And when I graduated, I made the fatal mistake of not having a job already lined up. So don't make that mistake, because I bummed around for half a year floating from job to job, basically just freelancing. I worked on 2 very low-budget movies. I worked the back tower at Hastings Racetrack. And eventually, Edsel Yago got in contact with me. I'd gone to school with him. They needed some NCIX Tech Tips videos edited for them on a contract basis. Now, Edsel had joined Linus Media Group because he watched the channel on YouTube and thought it was cool, and he did his internship with Linus.
Restraints chafe sometimes, but it's a really good place to work.
And he actually never came back to school after that. I would call him and say, "Ed, where's your homework? What are you doing? You haven't been to school in a while." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." The first NCIX Tech Tips video I ever edited took me, I think, 7 hours because I had no idea what any of this stuff was. I was Googling everything that Linus would say, and he was talking so fast, and he would kind of flub his words, and I had no script. So I had no idea what any of the computer components were. No one had ever explained this to me, so I didn't know what to do. But eventually I got better and faster at editing those. Linus wanted me on full time. It was actually between Linus Tech Tips and Bling Digital. I chose Linus Media Group, even though they were paying a lot less, because I felt like there was a lot of potential there. And I regretted that decision so hard for the first 3 weeks. It was horrible. And I've said this before. It's because there was just so much work to do. I didn't know what to do. There was nobody to train me. It was the NCIX problem all over again. I was so unfamiliar with all this stuff. I was trying to figure out, how can I edit quicker? I had to stay late on most days just to get everything done. I was editing basically NCIX tech tips, Linus tech tips, fast as possible, and eventually, they also added Channel Ch.15. The edits weren't nearly as good as they are today, because I would have to rush them out as quickly as I could. And I asked Linus, do you want high quality or high quantity? And he said, both. And internally I thought, no, there's no way. It's got to be quantity. So what I did was, I decided, okay, I'm going to finish the video, and then, if I have time, I will go back and I'll add extra things and I'll improve the quality. But I have to get the video done first. And so that worked decently well. Eventually we moved the office to the new warehouse and we got more and more employees, and the channel has grown significantly larger than I ever imagined. Back when I joined, it was just like a 4-person team. And here we are today. I can safely say that working at Linus Media Group is the hardest job I've ever had, and also the best job I've ever had. We have access to some of the latest and greatest cutting-edge technology, and that's really cool. I get to ride around on e-bikes for my job. I do product reviews on YouTube.
Product reviews? Oh yeah. My god, you have the best job in the world!
I got really lucky. The only reason I have this job is because I accidentally networked when I was at BCIT. So that's why I always say that networking is really important. Well, I had a great time.